if the prince is the Messiah,
He's
who
not the
Christian-
Messiah.
Well, now you have to say he's not the Messiah.
No.
Is the prince Jesus or not?
The
That's
Prince
what I'm
of
asking.
Peace, yeah, of course it is. Because he
Okay.
hasn't been anointed as king. He gets anointed. His shadowing of his anointing happens when he is baptized.
Okay, now I'm going to explain to you why that's a problem. Do you believe that, since you said that you have all these things in your head, do you believe that Ezekiel chapter 45 is about the Messiah?
Would you read the verse? Because I know the Bible in my head, not by verse. So just read it. Let's put it into context.
I mean,
it's
an entire chapter. It's about the.
Just tell me what it's about, bro.
Yes, I'll tell you what it's about. It's about the establishment of the third temple.
Oh, yeah, the third temple. That's the end of grace, isn't it? That's why prophecy is showing the reality that's happening. So we have the red heifers. We have the Aaronic class being brought back. So there's so many prophecies showing the end times.
Yeah, let me see if I can share my screen.
What's really interesting, even to the countries that would surround Israel. So it's really interesting.
Here it is. This is Ezekiel 45. As you see, this is just a title, but Israel fully restored. It's talking about the size and how big it's going to be, and all of this kind of thing. So do you believe that that Jesus himself is going to do this, that this is messianic?
No, so you're talking about it coming back down again, because the tabernacle, the temple, is built by hands, yes, but it's representing what's in heaven. So I've just done this with the high priest. I'm just posting a video now about this kind of thing. Jesus was the high priest. Yeah, the high priest was the one mediator between God and man. Yeah, he'd go in to the Holy of Holies. He'd put the incense on the altar. Yeah, they'd cover the people's sins with blood first, then do the incense, and then enter the Holy of Holies. And that was a picture of Jesus Christ in itself, him being the greater high priest.
Okay, so let me just read this verse here.
Go for it. So read a verse above and a verse below. I love it when we put things in context. I'm quite, aware you can make anything say anything. But
no, I just want to know who this person is. So it says in verse 7 here, the prince will have the land bordering each side of the area formed by the sacred district and the property of the city. It will extend westward from the west side and eastward from the east side, running lengthwise from the western to the eastern border, parallel to one of the tribal portions.
Brilliant.
This land will be his possession in Israel, and my princes will no longer oppress my people, but will allow the people of Israel to possess the land according to their tribes. So I'm asking, who is the prince? It says the prince will have the land.
Well, isn't he called the Prince of Peace? But I'd love to elaborate with that one, because of prophecy, it's actually showing you what shape the Jewish camp would camp in. And if you go to Numbers, the Jews actually camped in the shape of a cross.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just asking,
so
before we
proceed. Called the Prince of Peace. It's one of his titles.
Okay, good. So you believe the prince is Jesus, the Messiah?
Well, the Prince of Peace. It has multiple names.
Okay, I'm asking you, in Ezekiel 45, is the prince who is just spoken about there, because Jews and Christians, from my research, believe that Ezekiel is a messianic chapter of the Bible, and I'm asking you if the prince here is the Messiah, is Jesus.
Read it one more time, because I want to give I really want to give you a proper answer.
Okay. The prince will have the land bordering each side of the area formed by the sacred district and the property of the city. It will extend westward from the west side and eastward from the east side, running lengthwise from the western to the eastern border, parallel to one of the tribal portions. This land will be his possession in Israel. Speaking about the prince.
Yeah, right? So I think that would be the New Jerusalem coming down. This will. That could be.
So do you believe the prince is the Messiah, is Jesus?
I think it's the Prince of Peace. He's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords.
Okay, and the Prince of Peace is Jesus, isn't it?
Well, it's a title. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why this is such a difficult question for you. It seems like, is the Prince Jesus or is it not? I mean,
it's a messianic prophecy that you've just dropped to me. I'm telling you my interpretation.
You're the one who...
No, I'm giving you my humble interpretation. That's why I asked it to go again. I say it sounds like the New Jerusalem coming down, or the Tabernacle coming down, yeah? That would be in there. So the Prince of Peace, it could be, but read on. What I'm saying is you can read on and it'll give me a fuller understanding. But so let God be true and every man a liar.
I'll read on. I'll read on.
Yeah, cool. Just read on.
Yeah. This, I'm starting now, verse 9. This is what the sovereign Lord says. You have gone far enough, princes of Israel. Give up your violence and oppression and do what is just and right. Stop dispossessing my people, declares the sovereign Lord. You are to use accurate scales and an accurate epaph and an accurate bath. The epaph and the bath are to be the same size, the bath containing 1/10 of a homer. And it's going on and on describing all of this stuff.
Yeah, so,
I don't know how
the Jews are going astray here, yes, and God's correcting them. He does it a lot.
Correct. And then further down, verse 16, all the people of the land will be required to give this special offering to the prince in Israel.
Yeah, this is the New Jerusalem come down in the 1,000-year reign, bro. I get it now.
It will be the duty of the prince. So is the prince Jesus or not?
The Prince of Peace, yeah, of course it is. Because he hasn't been anointed as king. He gets anointed. His shadowing of his anointing happens when he is baptized.
Okay, now I'm going to explain to you why that's a problem and why the Christian, I'm going to show you, because, and this is why the Jews reject Jesus or the Christian.
The Jews are made enemies of the gospel for our sake.
If you just let me finish, right?
Yeah, but I could help you out.
This is the problem here. Now let me finish reading what it says about the prince, who you and the Jews and the Christians believe that it actually is the Messiah, Jesus. All the people of the land will be required to give this special offering to the prince in Israel. It will be the duty of the prince to provide the burnt offerings, grain offerings, and drink offerings at the festivals, the new moons and the Sabbaths, at all the appointed festivals of Israel. He will provide the sin offerings, grain offerings, burnt offerings, and fellowship offerings to make atonement for the Israelites. Hold on a second, Sarah.
So this sounds like the high priest.
I'm almost done, soldier.
No, it sounds like the high priest. This would be in the 2,000 years of law.
I'm almost done. Don't worry. This is what the sovereign Lord says. In the first month, on the first day, you are to take a young bull without defect and purify the sanctuary. The priest is to take some of the blood of the sin offering and put it on the doorposts of the temple of the four corners of the upper ledge of the altar and on the goalposts of the inner court. You are to do the same on the seventh day of the month for anyone who sins unintentionally or through ignorance. So let me finish. Just wait 1 second. You're going to get there. So you are to make atonement for the temple. In the first month, on the 14th day, you are to observe the Passover, a festival lasting 7 days, during which you shall eat bread made without yeast. On that day, the prince is to provide a bull as a sin offering for himself and for all the people of the land.
Yeah.
So now here's the problem.
Land, bro. I'm ready.
If the prince is the Messiah,
he's not the Messiah.
Well, now you have to say he's not the Messiah.
No, because you've read further on.
Now you have to say he's not the Messiah. But I thought that the prince was the Messiah, and I can show you from Christian commentaries here.
No, I don't care about Christian commentaries. I care about the word. Hey. Let me land.
No, I'm supposed to land.
Well, get there, bro, because I know the answer.
Exactly.
God be true and every man a liar.
You know what the answer is going to be. The point is that the prince is identified as the messianic figure who the Christians and Jews believe is the messianic figure, and you believe is Jesus. But yet it says that he is going to come back and offer a sin offering, not only for the Israelites, but for himself as well. And if Jesus is sinless, then he can't be the Jewish Messiah, sir.
So I'm just looking for your words in my mouth. I can't see them. All right, cool. So when you're mentioning these things, it's actually it's alluding to the high priest, not the great high priest. So this is under the law. And then when that's fulfilled, it says, bring me no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination to me. The new moons and the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with it. It is iniquity, even the solemn meetings. So because Jesus fulfilled the law, he fulfilled it. These were types and shadows. It's alluding to the high priest. It's not alluding to the 1,000 years reign, and it's not alluding to the 2,000 years of grace. So like you need to understand dispensations. I needed to hear more of the text.
Okay,
Well
so
done.
you're saying that you were wrong, that the prince is not
Yes,
the Messiah.
let God be true and every man a liar. Yeah, of course I am. I can change my position when hearing more text. Not a problem. I can humble myself. Yeah, not a problem, mate.
Yeah, so the prince in Ezekiel 45
Is alluding to the high priest, which is the shadow of the king, isn't it?
Yeah, you're saying it's not the Messiah.
No, absolutely not. But it's the high priest is the shadow of the Messiah. He's the one intercessor between God and man who will perform all these things. But since they were fulfilled in Jesus Christ, they are abominations to him. So all of these things that you're calling, it's the even the word prince. I know his title's Prince of Peace, but the prince would show you that it's allusion to the king. He wasn't yet made king, and it's underneath the law. So it's really easy to understand this now with more text.
Underneath the law. So
yeah,
we can move on, even though I can show you very clearly.
Shall I tell you about Jesus
that
then?
It is. Well, you tried to, but it didn't really work too well.
Well, it was beautiful, wasn't it?
So let me ask this then.
Do you want to have some beautiful about Jesus?
Why is the prince, even now you want to say it's not the Messiah, why is he offering sin sacrifices to begin with if Jesus is supposed to be the last and final sacrifice for all of mankind?
Because it's underneath the law. I've just done a video on this. It's quite interesting.
You mean it's before? Didn't Jesus already die and sacrifice himself?
No, this is the law. This is the 2,000 years below. The high priest. Everything that you're mentioning is temple duties. The prince is even alluding in the title before he'll be crowned. Even that word is making me think. It's very interesting. So no, this is not. This is the 2,000 years of law. So it's the one intercessor between God and man. So Jesus, hang on, listen. Let me land. Listen, because it's beautiful. I'll be really quick because I don't want to overexpand this one. The high priest would enter into the Holy of Holies, who make a sacrifice of blood for himself. Jesus doesn't need to do that. He's perfect. And for the people. Then he would go into the second layer, and he would burn incense like prayers. And then he would enter into the Holy of Holies. Jesus Christ, though, being our greater high priest, was the fulfillment of the testament. When the testator died, he fulfilled the testament with the shedding of his own blood. The veil was torn in the temple. The Shekinah glory left, and we have access into prayer. I am the truth, the way, and the life, and no man comes to the Father except through me. So we can have prayer. So he doesn't want incense anymore.
Okay, so then why is after Jesus already died and already sacrificed himself?
You're putting the cart before the horse.
No.
Bro, I'm saying this is before Jesus, bro.
This is not before Jesus.
I'm telling you it is. You want my opinion or not?
45 is before Jesus?
Before Jesus took on flesh, yes. Where do you see him calling Jesus before he fulfilled the law when he came down?
This is about the establishment of the third temple, sir.
This is the establishment of the third temple?
Yes.
Okay, show me where it says that.
Oh my God.
Read it.
We just read the beginning chapter, which is talking about what the size of the temple is going to be, the structure of the temple.
Before. Yeah, the temple's always the same. So show me where it says the third temple. If I've misheard it, I've misheard it. I'm humble enough to be corrected with the text.
Okay, this is talking about the future. It says in verse 1, when you allot the land as an inheritance, you are to present to the Lord a portion of the land as a sacred district, 25,000 cubits long and 20,000 cubits wide. The entire area will be holy. Of this, a section, 500 cubits square, is to be for the sanctuary with 50 cubits around it for open land. In the sacred district, measure off a section 25,000 cubits long and 10,000 cubits wide. It will be the sanctuary, the most holy place. It will be the sacred portion of the land for the priests who minister in the sanctuary and who draw near to the minister before the Lord. It will be a place for their houses, as well as a holy place for the sanctuary. An area 25,000 cubits long and 10,000 cubits wide will belong to the Levites who serve in the temple as their possession for towns to live in. And it goes on and on. This is all talking about in the future tense when the third temple is going to be established.
cool. I'll just send you this picture because I do this one. It's the tabernacle. It says, does it say temple or tabernacle?
No, it doesn't say anything about tabernacle.
So where does it say the word temple?
Oh man, I thought you were actually familiar with biblical.
No. Where does it say the word temple? I think it's the tabernacle. It's the tent in the wilderness for the Jewish camp. Do you want to pull that picture up?
I can pull it up for you again. It's Ezekiel 45. But Fareed, did you see what I sent you on WhatsApp? Let me see here.
Can you see the shape of the camp?
1 second.
I like this questioning, bro. Honestly, it's interesting.
You do.
And I stand on the Bible, so I can learn as well. But I've never had this argument, so it's interesting.
Okay, this is Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 45 here.
Okay, so I got to.
You can pull it up on your own. I mean,
yeah, of course. Ezekiel 45 KJV. What verse?
I mean, the entire thing is about.
Oh, okay. Okay, where does it say temple in here? I don't think it says temple. Sanctuary. No, I think this is talking about the tabernacle.
Tabernacle? You believe that the tabernacle is 25,000 cubits long and 20,000 cubits wide?
No, that's the centerpiece, isn't it? The tabernacle's a centerpiece where the Levites are in the center. If you go to that picture, it draws it out. Just go to that picture and put it on screen. Because the Jews were camping in the shape. I don't know
what picture you're talking about.
Yeah, it's got a cross, hasn't it? I'll kind of zoom in. There you go. I'll send you the actual, and you can roll down until you find a picture of it. I'll put it in private chat. So it's a really good question, bro. I'm not going to say I have all the answers now, but we can study it together. Not a problem.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at what you sent. So
do you want to put it up on the screen?
Let's see. Hold on here. Gotta share this other screen now. But anyway, we have other people waiting, so we're gonna move on to somebody else in just a second. Let me
just put that picture up. Yeah, of the. There you go. Pause. Just to zoom in on that. And it shows the numbers of the people. And this is Old Testament. Yeah. So you're talking about the land allotted to them. Can you zoom in again? It gives the numbers. Yeah, and just scroll down a bit. This is very interesting. This was done thousands of years ago before Christ came to the cross.
Yeah, so what do you want me to do? What are you trying to show?
This is talking about the land allotted and how many people. There's 151,000 in one direction, 186,000 with the tents and all that thing. That cubic measurement doesn't sound so crazy now, does it?
No, the cubic measurement doesn't sound crazy to me at all. But I don't understand what your point is.
So you're talking to the land allotted to them and the Levites, and it never mentioned temple, did it? It said that the land. So the tabernacle is a moving temple. It's a temporary structure that moves around with them. Then when they went into the land, they established the temple. So I don't see temple in this text.
Yeah, I'm saying. So where is it? Where is it now?
Where is the temple?
No. Yeah, you're saying it moves around. So where is it?
No. This is in the Old Testament. It moved around. They took the tabernacle with them.
Yeah, so where is it now?
Oh no, then they established the temple, didn't they? But the word temple is not in this text, unless I'm like blind. So it's describing the tabernacle.
1 second here.
Yeah, I can't see temple. If we can, I could change my position when presented with the text. It's not a problem.
Yeah, so we can go back to the text and here share my screen one last time. You see what it's talking about here. Now, if we scroll down after it's describing the measurements and all of that kind of stuff,
and if you go to,
we see down here.
On that text there in here, it actually has another picture of this. I think it's Numbers 2:17, and that kind of.
But hold on a second. My
reaffirming my position, my assumed position.
My point to you here, sir.
What's your point?
The structure that it's talking about here, it says in verse 18, this is what the sovereign Lord says. In the first month, on the first day, you are to take a young bull without defect and purify the sanctuary. The priest is to take some of the blood of the sin offering
Yeah.
put it on the doorposts of the
Yeah.
temple, of the
Yeah.
temple.
Okay.
The priest is to take some of the blood of the sin offering and put
Yeah.
it on the doorposts of the temple. It's
Didn't they
talking
do
about the
that when the
temple.
angel of the Lord flew over?
And it says on the four corners of the upper ledge of the altar and on the gateposts of the inner court, you are
Yes.
to do the same
Yes.
on this. Just let me finish, because you asked for the word temple. I'm showing you it's in the text. You are to do the same on the seventh day of the month for anyone who sins unintentionally or through ignorance. So you are to make atonement for the temple in the
Where
first
does it?
month. In the first month, on the 14th day, you are to observe the Passover, a festival lasting 7 days, during which you shall eat bread made without yeast. On that day, the prince is to provide a bull as a sin offering for himself
Uh-huh.
and for all the people of the land. The
Uh-huh.
whole context is talking about making a sin sacrifice offering for the atonement of the people at the temple.
Yes. So is the tabernacle a temple?
Bro, you're trying to ask me
I'm
more
not.
questions, right?
I'm
You
not.
asked
It's
you
just a
asked for
fact.
where does it say temple? I'm
Yes.
showing you it
Yes. And I
repeats
agree with you.
temple.
Yeah. 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 It says it.
Okay,
I get it. I get
so
it. No.
exactly. So whether you want to call it temple or tabernacle
Cool.
is
But
irrelevant to my argument. My point is that it's talking about the temple, and this is in the future tense. It's telling you
yes.
it's a prophecy about how the temple will look and what the structure will be and what
Yes.
sacrifices will take place there and
Yes.
all of that stuff.
Yeah. And what's your
And
point?
the point is that the prince is typically understood to be the Messiah, and
No.
that he is the one that is actually offering
No.
sin sacrifices for
It,
himself. And if Jesus is sinless, then it refutes your
no.
understanding of the Messiah.
No. 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 Because I've just done a video. It's so funny that this is
Adam,
brought.
we'd like to move on to the
Yeah,
next
we're
step.
gonna
Oh,
move
so
on.
so the high priest is
Well,
just the shadow of Jesus Christ. So he's talking about the shadow of him before. So that's who he is. So yeah,
Okay, Adam. Well, it was good talking to you.
yeah, cool.
yeah,
Well done,
have a good
lads.
day. Take care.
Okay, you have a
Well
nice
done.
day, sir.
See you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay, just real quickly, I know that a lot of people may have been kind of lost in what I was trying to get at there, but the point is that Ezekiel 45. So let me just see if I can do this here. Ezekiel 45 is typically understood that the prince figure is the Messiah, and that it's a messianic prophecy about the establishment of the third temple, right? And the problem is, and what Jews point out, and what I'm pointing out here, is that if the prince is the Messiah, and under the Christian conception of the Messiah, Jesus was sinless. Why is he offering a sin sacrifice for himself and for all of the people? That would refute that the Christian conception of the Messiah as a sinless figure is inconsistent with the prophecy about the Messiah in Ezekiel 45. Also, even broader than that, why are there sin offerings being given at the temple, period, if Jesus is supposed to be the last and final sin offering? That's why he had to try to say, no, this is actually happening earlier on.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be something that happens in the future, but that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
And then just quickly, I want to show that this is not just my interpretation. I want to show a commentary. So we can look at commentaries here for Ezekiel 45:22. And let me see here. If I go down. Okay. So here, this is Gill's exposition of the entire Bible. This is a Christian commentary on Ezekiel 45:22. It says, and upon that day, the 14th day of the month of Nisan, the first day of the Passover, as Kimchi observes, shall the prince prepare for himself and for all the people of the land a bullock, a sin offering. Here everything again is new, as the above Jewish writer observed.
Give me a sec. I need to plug in my charger.
Yeah, this is a Christian commentary. It says Christ himself is this prince, and who has prepared himself a sacrifice even for himself, his church, which is mystically himself, and to make atonement for all those sins which he took upon himself by imputation and made his own, even for all his chosen people, and for all their sins of his preparing this sacrifice. So again, it's very clear that the commentator is saying that the prince is Christ himself, and he is making a sin sacrifice for the people and for himself. Now that's problematic if you think that the Jesus is or the Messiah is the prince, and yet you claim that he is the sinless sacrifice for all of humanity. Why is he offering sin sacrifices for himself?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah,
anyway.
exactly. It was very interesting. Very interesting stuff. And when you started off, I didn't know where this thing was going, but as you were reading the text, it became clear, and it became. I don't know if it became clear to him while you were reading the text.
It did, because originally he originally said very clearly the prince. Oh, Jesus is the prince, King of Kings.
That's all you need.
So the prince has got to be Jesus. But then when he noticed what the problem was, as I read, that the prince is the one offering a sin sacrifice. Well, Jesus wasn't sinful, so how could it? Now he had to switch and say, no, he's not the prince. The prince was somebody else. And this is not actually a future prophecy. This has already happened. He had to switch the entire narrative because it contradicted Christianity.